Sit-in protest in front of the stone monument of Kyang Nongba started yesterday, the 9th of December 2021, to condemn the killing of civilians in Oting Mon district of Nagaland, organized by the North Eastern Students Organization. Several organizations of the different tribes of the northeastern region in Shillong have strongly condemned the barbaric act of the Assam Rifles personnel and also demanded to outrightly repeal the Armed Forces Special Power Act. The organization taking part in the sit-in protests include the KSU, the JSU, the FKJGP, the HNYF, the RBYF, HITO, Naga Students Union, Tripura Students Federation Shillong, Arunachal Students Union, Shillong Assamese Social Culture Students Association, Karbi Students Association, All Bodo Students Union Shillong, Shillong Manipuri Students Union, Mizo Students Union, and Mara Students Organization Shillong.
At this very moment, thank you for coming in a huge number in standing in solidarity with our Naga brothers. And I would like to thank our brother for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I, on behalf of the Shillong Karbi Students Association, express grief at the incident which occurred in the Mon district of Nagaland on the 4th of December. I, on behalf of the entire Karbi community, express my deepest condolence to the bereaved family, to the Naga people, and we demand the union government to immediately repeal the AFSPA from the entire region of Northeast, and I stand in solidarity with the people of Naga, and as well as with them, as well as with the family members of the deceased, and I pledge my support and sympathy towards the brethren of Nagaland, particularly Konyak brothers, and also to the others oppressed communities. Well, today's victims are the Nagas, and we don't know who is going to be the next. It could be me, it could be you, it could be the Khasis, it could be the Garos, it could be the Mizos, it could be the Karbis. We don't know who and what and where is going to be the next incident like this. You know, it's so sad to see our fellow Northeast people die without doing anything. And I wonder why can't the military, they can't even differentiate terrorists and civilians. Are they so fool enough? They can't even differentiate that. Don't you think that this incident could have been prevented? I'm pretty sure, and I'm quite sure this incident could have been prevented if they had used the sense. You know, it's very sad, and there are still many untold stories, untold and unknown cases like this there in many parts of Northeast.
How many years more do you think it will take for the government to find out what is the solution to the problem of Northeast? How many years? 63 years, and people have been dying on both the fronts. If any of you think that the people who are serving in the army do not come from among yourself, you are wrong. But at the same time, Armed Forces Special Powers Act given to the army, what business does the army have in civilian area? What business? What is the police for? What is the paramilitary for? What business does the army have in civilian areas? First of all, I would like to give my condolences to the families of the people who died, Naga people who died, people from the army who died. I would also like to extend my condolences to General Rawat and his wife who died yesterday, and along with them 12 other officers of the army, they died yesterday. To feel bad for one of my brother who died in Nagaland and not to feel bad for the other brother who's dying because the government is not listening to the voice of the people. That is not true, that is not good, and I cannot support it. But Afspa should not exist anymore. It is time that it should be taken away from the legislation, and this should be the end of it. How many of you know people who serve in the army, who have families in the army, friends in the army, they know the people in the army? Just raise your hands. See, if his brother from the army dies, won't you feel sad? All the people, a citizen of India dies, whether it's killed by a terrorist or it's killed by the army. But at the same time, this law, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, this cannot exist anymore. This is the time that it ends. And it will end only if you all will unite. You have to see how people in the center, they look at you. They look at you like somebody has come from Meghalaya, somebody has come from Nagaland. There's a Manipuri, there's a Meitei, there's a Khasi, there's a Garo. There are separations everywhere. Narrow domestic walls which are dividing you. And unless you unite, do you know you have 24 seats in the parliament? You can bring a major change in the way the parliamentary democracy works by making sure that the parliamentarians that you send to the parliament, they are good people. But how do you vote? I know him. I know her. It's not about the merits anymore. He's from my caste, he's from my tribe, he's from my state. No! You have to end this, you have to bring merit to democracy. Unless the people sitting on the places, on democratic places, they are willing to change this, you will just be sitting here, standing here and crying and nothing will happen, no change will come.
Ilang kalong ba kajing siya siap bagi siya siap how lihat no bagi siya siap haki gangster hello ki siya siap how usipay jongari lajong kapag snulungo sikate but kapag jus jaha hangno kamtam ha plain area kamju kamja henry balay ka jaha notis kane ka jingja balay ka jaha notis nisngo lango ba ki longshwa ki jungi ki ai ya ki jaka ki ai ki puta ki ai ya la ka jong ko bha ya ki army bakin yo banri ya la ka khli ka jong ki yo ban im mansa lang namar bag longshwa ki perkhat baka jingdon jongki army ka pensingan ya se ka ege bejah ka sauterik ngiyoi syai kedar baka jingdon jongki ne bleng kamde banyada yala ujong upailang henry kede penpan ka jing saja pat ka jing peniap im pek ka jing peniap kumi ki merat klem da kechu ya kamen simbrio.
They shove us and we say we are peace-loving people. They slap us and we say we are peace-loving people. They spit on us and when we fight back, what do they say? Insurgents, terrorists. What are we supposed to do? We all know the history of Mizoram, Northeast, Nagaland. Why are there insurgents in these places? Let me tell you an example of my state. Our leaders went to the authorities asking for food because there is a regular famine in Mizoram that happens every 40 or 50 years. But the leaders said no such thing would happen. So the Mizo people had to go back. They had to steal from the state treasuries. And what does the center do? They send jet fighters to bomb Aizawl. And when the people take up arms, they call us terrorists, they call us insurgents. One thing that should be clear is that Afspa is not helping anyone. It is only a license to kill. It is a license to force brother to kill his own brother. It is obsolete, it is useless. If those people at the center can come up with a beautiful parliamentary vista in a short amount of time, a beautiful statue in such a short period of time, why can't they think of something new? 60 plus years it has been with this hopeless Afspa.
The 4th of December
is not only a black day for the Nagas people, it is for the Northeast people as a whole. Why? We have seen the act of cowardice by the Indian Army, the Assam Rifle. These kind of incident, it always happen from time to time. We have witnessed in these past few years, so many incidents has been taking place, unwanted incident, the act of irresponsibility by the armed forces, which we have seen they took a shelter through this Afspa act. That is why we have come today to stand united and give our support to the NESO to move ahead with this kind of agitation, to request the government of India to kindly repeal this dragon law, which has been implemented in our northeastern states. We have seen the double standard act of the Indian government. We all know that India as a country is a secular state. It has been, India as a country has been made by the joining of each and every respected small state in the year 1948, in which we, as the Federation of Kasi State, we have come together to join with the government of India as one country with a condition. But now, when we spoke about the insecurity of our minority, the threat of our culture, the Indian government, when we asked about the implementation of ILP in our state, their answer which they have given us is that you are anti-India, anti-Indian. So to ask the kind of law to implement it to protect our own identity, that is the how we have been treated, have been showed it that we are anti-Indian.
Towards our Nagakunik brothers and sisters. And I'm happy to see our Kasi Students Union and students body and different organization in the North stands with us today. The barbaric incident which took place at Otin village under Mon district, Nagaland, where 14 of our innocent brothers were being killed. We, the Naga Students Union Shillong, in its highest term condemn such barbaric, inhuman killing of our Naga brothers. On the 4th of December, the innocent villagers were returning back to their respective home after a hard work day, where the Indian armed force ambushed and murdered those innocent unarmed civilians mercilessly during the broad daylight, and stating that it was a mistaken identity. How could the Indian armed force make such mistake? How shameless can they be, calling themselves as security special force? Our life is not a game. We don't have an extra life. This barbaric incident is a big discouragement to the people of the Nagas and to the people of the Northeast.